Hey everybody, Graham here. Well, I definitely learned my lesson, which is not to listen to the comments. People said in the comments on one of my videos that they'd be down for a physics video, and I made the physics video, and it is my worst performing video ever. But that's okay, I don't really care. I just wanted to make it for the hell of it. Anyway, there is a lot going on right now, particularly in the journalism field, and it just underscores what I have said since the beginning, which is that corporate journalism is a trap. There's no way for people to report honestly when they've got, a whole corporate structure with investors and creditors and everything deciding what they can and can't say. Other people have talked a lot about that, and so you can go watch some of them if you want. The news that's interesting to me right now is that the retrial of Danny Masterson has begun. It started at the beginning of this week. They did jury selection last week, so they did opening statements, and they've had testimony from one witness, which, if you're following the case, the witness is Jane Doe number 3. A couple of interesting things this time around. The judge is allowing a lot more testimony about Scientology. In the first trial, the Church of Scientology had pressed, or I'm not sure if it was the Church of Scientology or if it was Danny's lawyers, but I don't know if that's a meaningful distinction or not. Regardless, they argued that Scientology shouldn't be talked about in the trial because Scientology is not on trial. It's Danny Masterson who's on trial. And they ended up working out a deal with the prosecution where they would not contest the fact that the events that have been reporting have took place. They would only argue about whether there was consent or stuff like that. But during the trial, they meaning the defense team, did start questioning a couple of those things. And so this time around, Judge Almeida has ruled that there can be testimony about Scientology, and they are putting on as an expert witness a woman named Claire Headley, who, if you watch any of the quote-unquote SPTV channels, which would be Aaron Smith-Levin, Mike Rinder, and Mark and Claire Headley have a channel. So she's done a good bit of YouTubing about Scientology. She had a fairly high-placed position when she was in the church, and she will be possibly testifying in this trial as an expert witness about Scientology. The other thing that means is that they can bring in documents that were part of the church's process for handling this, meaning they can bring in reports that they filed when they, at the time these crimes were happening. So this should be pretty interesting. So I guess we've had the full direct from Jane Doe 3, and we got some of the cross. And according to Aaron, she did great on cross, at least so far. She didn't give away anything. She didn't make any mistakes or anything like that. She didn't really give the defense anything to discredit her with. So I'm very interested to see how it's going to play out this time. It is unfortunate that we do not have a video feed of this. I really like watching these sorts of trials as they happened. I enjoyed watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial because they did have a video feed, and you could watch the whole thing, and you could hear what people said, and you could watch them while they were saying it, so you could get a read on their body language and stuff like that. In any case, Aaron has gone out to California, gotten himself a press pass, and is in the courtroom and has been reporting since the beginning of the week. And he is planning to do this for the duration of the trial. So, if this is something that interests you, I would strongly suggest going over to his channel, Growing Up in Scientology, and following him, because he's giving some great reports. He likes to sort of blow things off with this comment, what do I know? I grew up in a cult. But he is actually a very smart guy and a very perceptive guy, and he is doing a very good job of breaking all of this down, as well as being entertaining and giving us some commentary on the goings-on that, if you've ever watched his channel, can be pretty funny in a low-key kind of way. So that's where my attention is focused. Now, nothing major has happened apart from testimony, but there were no, as far as I understand it, there were no surprises in the testimony. They're saying that Claire Headley could testify possibly next week, and I'm really looking forward to that. And there's one place where I really wish we had a video feed, because I would really like to hear Claire's testimony about Scientology, and even more than that, I would love to hear the questions that they ask her on cross-examination. My understanding is that the defense put Claire's stepfather's name on the potential witness list. Aaron doesn't think that he'll actually be called, but he thinks they're just doing this to mess with her head. But having watched her on a couple of videos, I don't think that's going to get to her. And if you want to check her out, she has a channel with her husband Mark, which is called Blown for Good. In Scientology lingo, blow means leave, take off, get out of here, blow. So when somebody leaves Scientology, they say he's blown, and that's Mark. He's blown for good. He's not going back. Mark, is a very funny guy. Claire is pretty amusing too. When all of them get together, which they do Monday nights on Aaron's channel, and they live stream, the four of them are pretty funny all together. Half the time I don't know what they're talking about, because it's all inside Scientology stuff, but I do enjoy it. Speaking of Scientology, I have not forgotten about the Dianetics Project, but to be perfectly honest with you, that book is so tedious and so wrong. And when I say wrong, I don't mean like it's morally wrong. I mean it's incorrect about many things. I mean, granted, yes, we have learned a lot since 1950 about biology, psychology, etc., and so forth. But even by 1950s standards, the appeals to science are weak at best. Most of them are just lip service, to be honest. There really isn't anything scientific about any of this. And if there was any science that went into it, it has not been reported, other than to say things like, it was found that, or we now know that, or experiments have shown. But he doesn't actually ever give you the data. He doesn't actually ever, describe the experiments or anything like that. It's just, it's BS. It's made up, and it's not scientific. And if you know a little bit about science, and you don't have to know that much, you just have to have a basic understanding of the scientific method and how scientists go about reporting their findings, is really all you need to know. But also, if you happen to know a few things about science per se, that helps too. But so if you know these things, when you read the book, it's just like, citation, 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 wrong, citation. There's no citations. There's just a lot of bald assertions, and many of them are just flat out wrong. So where does this leave me with the book and with the videos? Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read the rest of the book and do a video about it. I'm not going to go through, I'm not going to pick out many, if any, individual passages to highlight or anything like that. I'm just going to let you know what the gist of it is, and but I can tell you right now that it's crap. It really is. I mean, there's just no substance to it at all, and it kind of boggles my mind that people could have read this book and think, oh God, I've got to try this. I do understand that there are a ton of people who are scientifically illiterate, and something that comes along that promises them more success in life and better life and more happiness and stuff like that is going to be appealing. But we really need some real science. I would be slightly interested to see what the updates to Scientology, the updates to Dianetics look like, because I know there's this thing called New Era Dianetics, which is newer than the 1950 edition. I'm interested to know how it's different, but not interested enough to actually force myself to read any of it. Oh God, it's so freaking tedious. Anyway, I will give you the gist of the rest of the book. I will talk a little bit about what Scientologists believe and how it relates to Dianetics and so on and so forth. But I'm not going to do, like, I'm not going to keep doing a chapter or two at a time. There's just no need to drag this out. So that's what I'm going to do. So you should definitely pay attention to growing up in Scientology, and he will keep you updated with info about the trial. And I will check in probably, if there's anything interesting to talk about, I'll check in. If not, then not. I am interested in some of this media stuff that's going on, but like I said, there are other people who've covered it. There are a lot other people who are a lot more plugged into this scene, and they're coming out with videos faster and better researched than anything I put up would be. So there it is. I hope you're all having a great day. I will catch y'all in the next one. See you soon. Graham out. Bye.